leading as the function of management. Leading or directing is one of the 4 essential functions of management. The other 3, we have already discussed the 2, which is planning and organizing. Leading is the 3rd one, and controlling will be the final one. So there are 4 major functions of management, and leading is one of them. It involves influencing and inspiring others to work towards organizational goals. So leading involves influencing and inspiring individuals and others towards achieving a certain goal. That is the organizational goal. Effective leadership is crucial for creating a positive and productive work environment, motivating employees, and achieving organizational leadership. For us to achieve our organizational leadership, we need to put in practice some effective leadership skills or practices that will motivate employees, will make the work environment conducive, and that way we can achieve our objectives. What is the importance of leading or directing in an organization? It's guiding and motivating. It's responsible for guiding and motivating employees. It's the leaders who guide us towards the achievement of certain objectives of the organization. And through guidance, then they are also motivating us towards putting as much effort as possible so that we can be able to achieve the objectives of the organization. Leading is creating a positive work environment. So it's through leadership, proper leadership, that we create a positive work environment. Leading will enable us to achieve organizational objectives. That one I've mentioned several times. It leads to increased employee satisfaction. If with proper leadership and proper organizational structures, then the employees working in an organization will be highly satisfied. It improves productivity. If the employees are motivated, then the productivity is likely to improve, enhances organizational performance. Generally, if the productivity increases, then the performance of the organization generally will be enhanced. Key components of leading or directing include communication, motivation, inspiration, decision-making, conflict resolution, and delegation. So we need to put in place good communication strategies, motivation strategies. We need to inspire. We need to make decisions timely, and we need to resolve conflicts in case of any and delegate responsibilities. Communication, effective communication. There might be challenges, but in effective communication, we need to have clear and concise messaging. If you are sending a message or you're passing on information, you have to be clear and concise. As leaders of the organization, you have to be active listeners. You have to listen actively, and by encouraging people to give you more information, ask questions to clarify. That's what we refer to as active listening. You encourage people to give more information by nonverbal language, maybe nodding, encouraging them by hand signs, and even asking questions for clarification or affirming what they have said. And it is openness and transparency. Leadership has to put in place openness and transparency. Do not have any hidden cards. Do not be so secretive for proper leadership to take place. If you have any challenges in the organization, let them be felt across the organization. Do not say that you have insufficient funds, and on the other hand, the management are spending too much, or the leaders are spending too much of the funds in the organization. That shows that there's no openness and there's no transparency. Empathy, put yourself on the others' shoes, feel what they are feeling so that you can be able to be working to effectively respond to their needs and understand their stresses and complaints if there are any. Always make sure you understand the nonverbal communications. People might be tired, people might be demotivated. So it's important as leaders, you are able to understand the nonverbal language. And then the challenges of communication, we have language barriers. Sometimes we might have barriers where there's a difference in language. Whatever people are saying, you might not be understanding. And then we have cultural differences. Culture may be a communication barrier. What you say in one language might mean very different in another language, or the sign language you use in one particular cultural setting might differ with the other. There is noises. Noises include things like stress, include things like the actual noise out there that might be interfering with the communication. Lack of technology is part of the noises that might pose a challenge in communication. Motivation is another thing. We need to give incentives to motivate employees. They include financial rewards, non-financial rewards, goal setting, and feedback. Financial rewards include things like allowances, salaries and wages, salary increments, and so on. Non-financial rewards include things like fully paid trips, training and development sessions, team building sessions, promotion to other levels, uh, empowerment, and many others. And then goal setting, you need to set realistic goals. You have to set SMART goals that are specific, S for specific, M for measurable, F for attainable or realistic, R for relevant, and T, it should be time bound. So the goals have to be smart, and you should be ready to give feedback and collect feedback from others, because communication is two-way. Get feedback, give positive feedback where there is good performance, or give negative feedback where the performance is not very good. Recognition, public recognition, we say we praise loudly and in public and criticize in secrecy. That way you keep your employees motivated. And then personalized recognition. You can have recognition for each individual, giving them like awards, certificates, and so on. Awards and prizes, those are part of recognition. And then support, you need to support your employees, coaching and mentoring, empowerment, work-life balance. They should not be working too much that they at a cost of the other parts of life. You know, life is not all about working. There's social life, you need to socialize, and there's family life. You need to have some bonding time or some good life with your family members. We have three motivation theories. One of them is Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory, which proposes that people have five basic needs, and these needs are the motivation for their working. Once you fully satisfy the physiological needs, which are actually the basic needs, food, uh, clothing, and housing, and they are fully satisfied, and you are making some more money, or you will be working towards making more money for the next level of needs. Uh, these needs include the safety and security needs. Safety for self. You don't want to be harmed. If you are living somewhere that was very dangerous, then you'll think of moving to a better place where it's secure. Safety for self, safety for friends and family, safety for property. It will drive you to work harder so that you can satisfy the safety aspect of your life. And then after you satisfy the safety aspect, safety and security, you think of at the same level, you also think of the safety or security of work, health issues. If you are sick, what will happen? That's where we take insurance covers. You will not be eating anywhere because you'll be thinking of your health too. You don't want to eat something that will lead to some aspects of food poisoning, or in a place where it's suspicious not to be very hygienic. So those are safety nets. And then belonging, you want to belong to certain groups, so you are motivated to work harder so that you can belong to a certain class of individuals, or you can belong to a certain class of so you can get to a certain status of life. So that kind of belonging motivates you to work harder so that you can achieve it. And then there's esteem. This is self-esteem. After you have achieved we call it love and belonging level, then you want to stand out from the crowd. You want to be felt. You want to be recognized. You want to be a leader in your own field or in your own place. So that will motivate you to work even harder. That's where people will start thinking of promotion to the topmost uh, office in the workplace, or even to political offices. They would like to become the member of parliament, the local member of parliament, the governor, and so on. That is part of self-esteem. And then self-actualization is the level that you have it all and you don't need anything else, but it's a level that you'll be thinking of giving back to the society and helping others. You have achieved it all. If it's leadership, you have had it. If it's making money, you have made enough money. And yeah, you are reconciling yourself. You think of morality and other things. And then you have Hasbach two-factor theory. It's another theory. Identifies two sets of factors that influences employee motivation. Hasbach categorizes these factors into two. We have the hygiene factors, prevent dissatisfaction, or and motivators that promote satisfaction. So hygiene factors, we might refer them as negative motivators, things like punishment if you do something wrong. That way you be motivated not to do that, what is wrong. And then maybe rewards for when you do something right. And that one we refer to as the motivator. And then we have expectancy theory. Proposes that employees are motivated to exert effort when they believe that their effort will lead to performance, and performance will lead to rewards, and rewards will available to them. So this is what you expect. In this theory, we define clearly what you are required to do, or we describe the tasks that you are required to perform clearly, and the results that are expected to be achieved. And for that results, we clearly allocate rewards for it. So this expectancy, what you're expecting to get at the end, which is valuable, will motivate you to work harder so that you can get there. So yes, expectations is key in this theory, and expectation is key in the expectancy theory. Inspiration. Inspiration involves setting a positive example. As managers or as leaders of the organization, you should walk the talk. You should not be preaching water and drinking wine. You should walk the talk. If it's water, it's water. Do not do negative things and expect others to do the right thing. You should lead by the example. Integrity is key. You should express a high level of integrity because you expect the same from others. Commitment, you should show good commitment and resiliency. Resiliency is also key. You should not expect others to be resilient while you are not as a leader. Communicating a compelling vision. For inspiration, you need to communicate a compelling vision. You need to tell people where you want them to be. That includes, that is the improvement of the organization and the improvement of the individual well-being in future after we have achieved where we want the organization to be. We should have a shared purpose. If you convince them enough that we are working towards that thing and we are all going to benefit in this way, then we are creating a shared purpose. And that way you can push all the members to, you can not just push, but inspire them to work towards achievements of the organizational goals, and then have meaningful goals, goals that are meaningful to the organization and to the individuals that are being led or are being inspired. The other thing is building trust. You should build trust among the employees, be honest and transparency. That one is coming up again. You have to be reliable, show empathy, and delegate. You should delegate responsibilities to others and trust them that they are going to perform or to implement those responsibilities or to work on those tasks effectively. Inspirational leadership techniques. One, it's storytelling. Those who inspire are good storytellers. Storytelling are based on what happened. Tell stories that will motivate others to work hard towards achieving the objective of the organization. These are examples of dreams that have been achieved. Share those dreams so that you can build the dreamers, and these dreamers will ever be working hard so that they can bring their dreams to life. And then recognition and rewards. You should always recognize good work and reward those who have done good job. You should empower those who are working under you. Don't just give them responsibilities or don't just assign tasks without giving them the power to make decisions and the resources required for them to perform their tasks. And then you should encourage, you should put in practice positive reinforcement. Where the work is good, always reward accordingly and encourage people to work hard so that they can be rewarded. And then we have decision making is another component of leading. Key components for decision making include problem. It's not the components, but the steps involved to decision making include problem identification. For us to make any decision, we need to identify the problem. If we have the problem, identify the problem, After identifying the problem, you gather information around that problem, get possible solutions to that problem by gathering sufficient information. And then after you have gathered sufficient information, or you have synthesized, or you have come up with different solutions for a certain problem, then analyze and evaluate the different options that you have come up with. After analysis and evaluating of the options that you have come up with or you have been given, then decide and select the options that is viable or is applicable to the solution. So choose the best option and apply it, implement the options that you have selected, and then monitor and evaluate the implementation process. As you monitor and evaluate, you're also adjusting accordingly so that you give room for flexibility. The different decision-making styles. We have rational decision-making style, intuitive decision-making style, and bounded rationality. Rational decision-making style, we have all the facts collected and brought forth, and then based on the facts, then you can make decision. Intuitive, it's not rational, but we rely on the capability of individuals and their expertise to decide for us. There might be no facts related to that one, but we trust whoever are making decisions for us, they will give us good answers. And then bounded rationality is where we have the rationality, but it is fixed within, it has some restrictions. You don't go beyond this or you don't go below this. So you have some limitations or you have set limits, high upper limits, lower limits. You are just bounded within, but you bring the rationality in it so that it makes sense. Challenges in decision making. One is uncertainty. We are very uncertain about the future, and therefore it makes it difficult to be precise, to be sure whether the decision or the solution we are taking is viable to the problem. And then complexity, some issues are very complicated and might be challenging for us to make decisions wisely or correctly. And then time constraints, we don't have enough time to do the enough research so that we make proper decisions. So since we are restricted by time, then sometimes it's challenging to make those decisions. Another thing is group thinking, where some people may not be speaking out their thoughts and they're just following what majority say. So that is what we call group thinking. Strategies for effective decision making. Seeking information. You need to seek information. You need to consider alternatives. You need to involve others. You need to be flexible and learn from mistakes. So if you have made a decision and you made a mistake, kindly don't repeat that mistake. Learn from it. Information is key for any decision. You should always involve others because they are going to own the solution and it will be easier to implement. Conflict resolution is another thing under leadership that we need to understand. For us to resolve conflict, we need to understand the conflict itself. There are several types of conflicts. Sometimes they come about because of differences in goals. One individual might have a different goal from the other individual, and therefore it brings it brings in conflict. Or an individual might have a conflict that is differing with the might have a goal that is differing with the goal of the organization, and that one also brings conflict. They might be conflict in values. We have different values, and sometimes some people may make decisions that are not favorable to your values as an individual or as an organization. And therefore, that one brings in conflict. Conflict in personalities. The different individuals have different personalities, and therefore, if these ones are contradicted, then it brings in conflicts. Conflict style. Some people some conflict styles are those that will make you avoid, where you think it will be a problem to you, then you avoid such situations, or you avoid being involved in such decision makings. And that avoidance itself, it's a conflict, because there are decisions that are meant to be made for the organization to move forward. Accommodating. You might be accommodating individual goals within the organizational goals, although they are contradictory, then that is a big conflict. Competing, individual goals or individual values or personalities might be competing, and that one can lead to high conflicts in the organization. Compromising. Sometimes you may decide to compromise on the requirements or on the goals of the organization to accommodate or to please some individuals or to please some organization, and that one is a conflict. Collaborating, you might all collaborate to bring down the organization or bring down others, and that is a conflict. Conflict resolution strategies. You are supposed to be an active listener. I've talked about that. You have to be empathetic. I've explained what is empathy. Open communication. You should be open communication. You should enhance or practice open communication. Let everyone understand what is required. Negotiation. Negotiation is key in conflict resolution. Let's negotiate a win-win situation for both of us. And then we have mediation. It's where we invite a third or a neutral person to come and mediate, listen on both sides, and come up with and enable us come with a solution. Arbitration is where we invite a professional or a powerful individual or a responsible person like a lawyer or a manager or a leader to come and arbitrate on our conflict, so that he or she can give us a solution to the conflict. Challenges in conflict resolution: emotional intensity. Emotions might be very high, and that way they might be very little chances of understanding each other. Power imbalances, cultural differences, where there is power imbalance, that is maybe a manager is in conflict with a cleaner, then that one may be a challenge for us to resolve that conflict fairly. Cultural differences also brings about conflicts, and then personality clashes makes it difficult to resolve conflicts. Benefits of effective conflict resolution. One of them is improved relationships. If we resolve conflicts, then if the relationships were not good, then they are likely to improve. Increase productivity. If we resolve conflicts, especially things to do with the goals, then productivity is likely to increase. Positive work environment. If there are no conflicts, then the work environment is good and attractive and enhanced decision making. If we don't have conflicts or we have less conflicts, then decision making is easy and fast. Delegation is another component. The key principles of we shall discuss key principles of delegation and benefits of delegation. Key principles is clear communication. Communication has been repeated all through, so we should agree that communication is key in proper leadership. Trust, we should build trust. You should trust the people whom you're giving the job, that they shall perform them. You should communicate clearly the tasks that you're giving to them. Be clear about the tasks that you're giving to them and the levels of authority that you've assigned them. And then trust them to perform, and then support them, give them the necessary support, give them the resources, the skills required for them to perform very well. And then make them accountable for the outcome of their tasks. And then always give them feedback on the performance and collect feedback from them. What are the benefits of delegation? We have an empowered workforce, a workforce that is well motivated, which is empowered. That means they have the skills and the powers to make decisions and do the job as they are allocated. It brings in efficiency because we have shared responsibilities, so the work will be done easily. And then development, we are likely to develop individuals and the organization generally because of good work that is be done, and the motivation. People who are empowered or are given responsibility and the power to make decisions then are motivated. Challenges of delegation, we have fear of loss of control. Some leaders or some managers will fear that if they delegate their jobs, they might lose control of the work or the task that they are supposed to be performing. Micromanagement, there are some managers who pay attention to the lowest level job that is being done. That is what we call micromanagement, and it is a challenge to delegation of responsibility, overburdening subordinates. Sometimes some managers may leave all the job to the subordinate and overburden them. That one is also a challenge of delegation. And then resistance to change. Some managers are resistant to change and therefore will not accept delegation of responsibilities. Strategies for effective delegation: you should start small. Do not delegate too much because these are subordinate staff and they might not be having proper exposure to do what they're expected to do. So start small, and then provide training and support. Train them and support them effectively as you give them responsibilities. Set clear expectations. Give them the end. At the end of this task, I expect you to have achieved this and that very clearly, including timelines, and then monitor progress, monitor the progress of the work done. Be patient. Don't be too quick to judge, thinking that they are not done very well. Remember, they are learning, so be a good teacher, and teachers should be patient. Leadership styles, we have autocratic leadership, democratic leadership, laissez-faire, transactional, and transformational leadership. Autocratic, democratic, laissez-faire, transactional, and transformational leadership. These are 5 leadership styles. There might be more, and there is no leadership style that is perfect for every organization or for every sector in an organization. So it's important that we understand the task that we are up to or the organization that we are working on and the environment surrounding that particular organization before we choose the kind of leadership that we shall enforce in our organization. What is autocratic leadership? Autocratic leadership is also referred to as authoritarian leadership. Is a style where the leader makes decisions unilaterally and expects employees to follow orders without question. So autocratic leadership, as I've said, is also known as authoritarian. I think it's also known as dictatorship or dictatorship kind of leadership, dictatorial. So it's a situation where workers are supposed to take orders without questioning and take action as they are advised. This style is characterized by high degree of control and low level of employee participation. So there's too much control in every activity or every task that is being done, and there's very little contribution by the employees in the decision-making process. Advantages of autocratic leadership: it is quick decision making. Since decisions are made at the top, then it's easy and quick. You don't engage anyone, you don't want anyone to contribute, just giving orders. Clear direction, orders come from above. There's no other way. So there's clear direction of communication. And then effective in crisis. In case of crisis, this is an effective kind of leadership because decisions are made quickly and there's no wastage of time. It's also referred as a military kind of leadership. And then we have disadvantages. We have low employee morale. Employees are demotivated. They are not very happy. There's resistance to change. Most cases, there's resistance to change, reduced creativity, because you don't participate on decision making. You are not heard. You are just there to be seen. So there's no room for creativity. And then potential for abuse of power. Since I give orders, then the likelihood that I might abuse the power, it is very high. Democratic leadership, also known as participative or consultative leadership, is a style where leaders involve employees in decision-making process. So in this case, employees participate in decision-making process. This approach fosters a sense of ownership, empowerment, and collaboration among team members. So there is a sense of ownership, there's a sense of empowerment and collaboration among the team members. Democratic leadership, just that one is meant to be democratic, it's not autocratic. Democratic leadership leads to increased employee morale because they are involved in decision making. So one advantage is that it boosts the morale of the employees. Higher quality decisions, since you engage more than one people, then decisions that are made are of high quality, unlike when you're just giving orders. Improved employee engagement. We engage the employees, they participate in decision making, and therefore there is engagement. Enhanced creativity, their voices are heard, and therefore there is room for creativity. There's greater acceptance of change since they participate in all the decisions made. There's a greater acceptance of change. What about the disadvantages? Time consuming, can take time because we need to discuss and explain why and how we are taking the decisions. And then potential for conflict, yeah, because you engage people, you are likely to disagree. There's risk of group thinking. It's a group responsibility. We decided in a meeting. So that group thinking sometimes may lead people not to contribute effectively. They follow the majority decided, even if it's wrong. And then less control. There's less control since sometimes you might be the leader, the CEO, but your decisions are subjected to voting, and therefore there's less control of what will happen. Laissez-faire leadership, also known as free rein leadership, is a style where leaders provide minimal guidance and allow employees to make their own decisions. There is provision of minimal guidance, and it allows employees to make their own decisions. They do what they think is good for them or for the organization. This approach is characterized by a high degree of autonomy. Individuals make their own decisions and freedom of employees. Advantages of laissez-faire: increased creativity and innovation, improved employee morale, and faster decision making. So if I'm making decisions alone, then it's faster. I'm motivated since I am empowered to make my own decision. There's creativity because I decide what kind of job I want to do and how I'll do it, how I'm going to achieve the objectives. The disadvantages of laissez-faire include lack of direction. Everyone is making his own decisions, so there's lack of direction. Don't know which way is the right way. Inefficiency. There's likelihood of inefficiency, and then poor performance and ineffective in crisis situation. Did I hear someone talk? Mike, if you are not saying anything, kindly put off your microphone. Okay, in laissez-faire, there's likelihood of inefficiency since there's lack of direction, and there's likelihood of poor performance and ineffective in crisis situation. If there's crisis, then this is not the style that we can follow because everyone is independent and they can make their own decisions. Transactional leadership. Transactional leadership is a style of that focuses on exchanging rewards for performance. Leaders using this approach set clear expectations, provide rewards for meeting those expectations, and take corrective action when necessary. Transactional leadership is a kind of leadership that you give me, I give you my effort, and you give me something in return. So it's purely transactional. You don't give me anything, I don't give you anything. Advantages of the SAM: it is clear structure. Since we know what is expected for me and what I'm going to get, I'm going to get clear. It's highly motivating and efficiency. And then disadvantages for the same is limited motivation. Sometimes transactional leadership or transactional relationship is not very motivating. There's lack of innovation because I provide what you need and you give me what is you are promised. Dependency on rewards. There's maximum dependence on rewards. Transformational leadership is a style of that focuses on inspiring and motivating employees to go beyond their self-interest and work towards the organizational goal. In this case, it's not transactional, it's not the rewards. There's, there's some inner motivation that will lead employees to get the job done. So they go beyond their self-interest. Transformational leaders create a vision for the future, inspire employees, and share that vision and empower them to achieve it. So you create a vision, they are visionary leaders, they create a vision, and then they share that vision with employees and inspire them to share the vision and empower. To empower is to train them, facilitate them effectively so that we can be able to achieve that vision together. Advantages of transformational leadership is that increased employee motivation, improved performance, positive organizational culture, and innovative. There's room for innovation and creativity. So employees are highly motivated because they are inspired. They are not just looking at the salaries and the transactions that they are going to get, but there's inner motivation that makes them go beyond their self. And then there is a improved performance. If you're motivated, the performance is likely to go high. And then the culture in the organization is good. There's positive organizational culture where people are not much focused on money they make, but they're focused on the vision that is ahead of them. And then they are very innovative and creative. I will welcome questions and I will also ask questions at the end. Thank you for listening, and yeah, I can go back if you didn't get anything. The ball is on your side.